right, we are live. Welcome to our Truss T&T Tuesday call. I am here with Tanner and Steve with Awardco. Welcome, guys, and thanks for taking the time. Steve, give us a brief overview of what is Awardco for those that don't know.
Yeah, sounds good. Awardco is an employee recognition platform. You can easily let employees know they're doing a good job. You can tag certain values, share stories around those values, and if you have a budget, you can give a monetary amount with that, and then employees will receive that recognition notification via email, for example, and then they have the option to log into Awardco to redeem on Amazon, for example. We have a partnership with Amazon Business, and we literally have rebuilt Amazon into a points program. And so it's a lot of fun when you can marry the recognition and you can let someone know they're doing a good job, and if you give them points, then that employee can then log into Awardco, which is branded for the company, and they can pick something, whatever they want from Amazon. So just kind of lifts the human spirit a little bit.
That's cool. Thanks, Steve. So I'm super excited to talk to you guys today because of the corona or COVID-19. All of our clients now have employees all over the place, whether it be at home in different states, different countries. And we've had about 10 different virtual events over the last month. And one of the most common questions are communication, recognition, and motivating now a dispersed workforce that's now working remotely. What are some of the best practices that you guys have seen from your clients on now how are they motivating and incentivizing their employees that are now working remotely?
Good question. Want me to take it, Ken, or you want to?
Yeah, we can talk. Yeah, go first.
So, we work with some of the biggest companies out there in the country, and one particular, one of the biggest finance companies in the world. I've been talking to them a lot about recognition, and they've been coming to me too and saying, hey, what do we do? And it was really cool. Naturally, what they saw since COVID-19 happened was their recognitions tripled.
Really?
And but it just didn't happen overnight. It was their leaders that were really reaching out, the executives saying to the people managers to say, reach out to your employees more. They're at home. There's more anxiety. There's more, things that they're feeling, and they want to be told they're doing a good job. And so recognition spiked. And in particular, this organization likes to recognize based on certain values around customer obsession. And so when they did something, and they heard about it, the people manager would reach out to that individual on Awardco and share the story of what they did and tag a value, and there was a monetary side to it. And so what that did is that helped the person who's isolated at their house just get a little pick me up saying, hey, you're doing a good job, keep it up. And I think that's we need those little check-ins more frequently so we don't have that high stress and anxiety, like, am I doing a good job? No one's telling me, I'm getting no feedback. And so I've been able to really work specifically with that finance company, and I've seen recognitions go through the roof. In fact, they're happening every 15 seconds on the platform right now. So I love that, and that was just one thing. So I think if you compare it with a value, I think that ties and a story to share with that, I think that's a really cool thing right now.
I love that, because I'm sure some manager or some team is like, oh my goodness, how do I start this meeting off with something positive with all the bad news out there? And then they recognize somebody, and that guy or gal gets to leave their bedroom where they're working and go tell whoever they're quarantined with, hey, guess what just happened? And it's like spreading positivity. I love that.
One other thing to note, so not only is it happening at the people manager level, and they're reaching out to their employees, but we're also providing all that data. We have the reports, and we're able to take keywords and say, okay, give me all the recognitions and things also that say something about COVID-19 or coronavirus or whatever keyword they want. And so every week they get a whole list of all these recognitions, and then from the very top, they're able to send out newsletters and share meaningful stories of what they're doing to make a difference. So not only is it happening at the micro, but also macro.
What are the most common reasons for recognitions on those reports?
Yeah.
Yeah, the most common recognitions that I see, it's more just service. It is people like, going out and cleaning the office over and over and over again, and then how much people are appreciating that, and they're putting that down, and then it's also serving the customers when they can't come into the store, for example, or the branch or whatever it might be. They are going out to them and talking to them and helping them stay safe. And so it's the employees that are sacrificing their own well-being. That's what's being recognized the most. And some of these, I mean, honestly, like they almost move you to tears sometimes, some of the things that people are doing. And I love it because it just makes, as we're all isolated, it just motivates you to be a better human in general. So those are some things I've seen, just service around.
Yeah, and I would say a lot of spot recognition. So we see a lot of organizations, as Steve mentioned, the number of recognitions have increased drastically over the course of the past 6 to 8 weeks.
Yeah.
And it's really because these organizations, it's their way to communicate. How do you recognize, how do you create a culture from home when these employees are not in the office, they're not communicating, talking necessarily. They may have ways of communicating, but like you said, in a day full of bad news, it's really nice to see something come in that's positive. And so we've actually seen a lot of organizations, even though maybe their budgets may be on pause right now to recognize for monetary values, social recognitions have increased 10 times just because employees, managers and people managers are trying to get to their direct reports with their employees and try to say, hey, good job doing this, even just fulfilling day-to-day tasks. How are we making sure that they're being recognized or being, feeling that they're doing their job and that they're being responsible even from a work from home environment. So that's been huge for us, and even within Awardco, some of the best practices is recognitions are constantly happening, even if it's just a basic support ticket. It's nice to be, hey, I'm working from home. I feel like I'm part of the group. People are noticing my efforts. So
yeah, one of it just happened over the weekend. One of the companies we work with is AWS, and we had a employee that was answering their questions at 1, 2 in the morning, and I was copied on some emails. And so I was able just to get in there, give that person a shout out. The whole company here at Awardco knew, and they're able to, give some thumbs up and be social about it. And I hope that lift that employee up knowing, hey, we appreciate it. You went above and beyond. You're servicing clients in the middle of the night. Fortunately, that company is global, and so it had to happen. But, so that's definitely good to know.
Yeah.
Tanny, you kind of segued and answered part of my next question, but I'd love to hear any more examples if you have them. Right now, with the current economic climate, some people's monetary budget is tight. So what are some of the best, tactics that you're learning from people on recognizing people without money? You mentioned a few of the social recognitions. Expound on that. Any other examples on if budgets are tight, how to make sure to continue recognizing?
Yeah, actually what's really, really interesting and kind of from the basis of Awardco, monetary value has played a big part of that. But what's really interesting is through a lot of studies, Gallup, DDI, all these companies that are coming out, employees are finding that there's more satisfaction or appreciation in getting a recognition and not necessarily having it be monetary, but just so that their peers are aware or knowing that they're fulfilling in their role. And so there's a lot of satisfaction that comes from that. And so we have a lot of organizations, even before this, ran a lot of social where employees, back and forth can recognize, and it doesn't have to be a monetary value. And that's where I think one of the best things has happened is it doesn't necessarily have to be from, kind of the manager to employee. It can be from employees to employees, people seeing things around the office, having recognition happen amongst peers. And so that's really cool in a situation like this where companies can participate in a recognition. It doesn't even have to be a manager. It's, hey, so-and-so helped me on this project or did this with an Excel file or did whatever, went above and beyond and helped me out, and people get to participate in that. That's what's cool about social recognition and why there's a lot of drive there, is that really is what helps create culture as well. There's obviously a monetary and incentivizing aspect to this, but the social recognition is really what drives a lot of the culture from employee to employee. And we see that here at Awardco, just employees recognizing each other, saying, hey, thanks for helping out on this or that. And once the employees start to gravitate towards that, especially from a work at home environment, I think that's why recognitions have gone up, is they have the time and they have a little bit of that need to go out and feel like they're a part of it. And so when they see a recognition happen, it's almost like a domino effect. We see employees start to recognize because oh, so-and-so did good. Well, I want to recognize, or I've been recognized, and it kind of creates, lights a fire among everyone to create that culture.
One of the things that we do as an organization here at Awardco is we track our recognitions. We have a dashboard, we have a number, and I can see what we recognized, how many people we recognized last month, and even last year versus right now. And so I love seeing that it's steadily going up, and that really helps. So it's front and center for us. We use that as one of our big goals for the year. We want to recognize often. We have our own objectives as Awardco. It's obviously to make money, it's to take care of our customers, and it's to recognize often. And so we always are chasing that number. We want to recognize a lot. One of the things that I love as one of the executives here is I love having all our values in our platform, and I love the stories that come alive from those values. You have surveys that are awesome. It's a great way to get a pulse of what's going on. Quantitative, you can see that. Then you have Awardco, which is more the emotional side. It's more the stories that back up a value. You can see a value about customer obsession or flexibility or transparency, and you read stories about it. And then one of the things that I like to do at Awardco is we have this feed that I can look and click on. Show me all the stories about customers. Show me all the stories about ownership, or one of our values is transparency. And then I can click on it, and I can just get stories after stories after stories, and then I can go and contribute. I know most of our employees here, some I don't know as often, and I can go in there and I can just click on that, and I can quickly contribute and comment, and that gets me connected to all the employees, because then I have something to talk to them about, and we can talk about what they did well, and that just encourages them to do it better next time. So it's been a really positive thing. But that's one of the things I love.
Yeah. And last bit on this, Logan, I think going into the social aspect and engaging employees and how to do this, it often comes from top down. And then I think that's where we see the most success from organizations, is when leaders of the company actually participate in the recognitions and can see that that's happening. It really motivates employees. And we even see this on just basic rollouts for organizations. If you want recognition to be successful and to have that be part of your culture, it has to come from the top.
Yeah.
And when it does come from the top, organizations just naturally gravitate, and we see adoption rates just through the roof. And so I think, from organizations that are looking to, find ways to engage employees, regardless of the platform or what you do, it comes from the top, and the leadership starting the recognitions and having other people, be involved and being aware. And again, one thing that we really like is everyone gets notified when someone gets recognized.
Yeah.
We have that turned on in our system. So kind of an email goes out and says, hey, so-and-so's recognized. So that way everyone gets to participate, but it comes from top down. So
Sweet. Last question. When the regulations are lifted, what's the first thing you're going to go do?
That's a good question.
I don't think that far ahead. When the regulations are lifted, what are we going to do? What are we going to do, Tanner?
I don't know. I love being in the office. Steve and I are in the office today, and there's nobody really here, but I love working with the employees. So I'm just excited to get back in the office. That's the thing I'm most excited about.
Yeah. Now, I'm excited to, I love the challenge. I mean, this was very difficult for a lot of organizations to go home, and I love, the same as Tanner, I can't wait to get back with our employees, because we have such a good culture here, but figure out the new norm and to collaborate, to get feedback. And what is that new norm? Is that new norm a balance of, I'm at the office 3 days a week, I'm home 2 days a week? I don't know, maybe. But having a good connection to your employees, whether you're using like Slack and Microsoft Teams to stay connected, if you're using like a recognition platform to easily recognize and give monetary points, and bonuses and incentives, great. I think there's enough tools out there that are going to allow us to be effective in a new economy. And so I'm excited to figure out what that is. One other thing that I like to do with Awardco is I put a specific time in the day of when I'm going to take an hour and I'm going to recognize my employees. I just block it out. And so it's a reminder. So you don't have to be always in it. You know what I mean? So just figuring out the new norm is what I want to figure out.
Thank you, guys. Thanks again to Steve and Tanner with Awardco. I learned a lot of stuff. And one of my favorite quotes about building relationships is that the number one tactic in war is also the number one tactic in building loyalty. And that is the element of surprise. And I love that basically what your platform does and everything you've said is that you can really surprise people. And that element of surprise, how much delight and joy that brings into people's lives. So thanks for helping spread some good news during a weird time. So thank you guys.
Hey, thanks so much. Thanks for having us.